everyone, it's been a long time since I've posted a video on here. So today is going to be a combination of an update video of where I've been and what's going on and where we're going. And the second part is going to be 5 weight loss tips. First of all, let's start with what I've been up to. So it's been quite a while since I posted on here, but if you follow me on Instagram, then you kind of have an idea what's been going on. So I am currently preparing to compete for Mrs. New Mexico, and at the time of this video, it's about a month away. So it's crunch time. And since about April, I have been on a weight loss journey too. I remember after the quarantining and all of this, I stepped on the scale and was like, oh my gosh, like so many people, right? I weighed what I weighed when I was 9 months pregnant with each of my girls, which is a lot for me. And I remember the day when my wedding ring would no longer go on my finger, and my husband noticed I wasn't wearing it, and I just felt so bad. It wouldn't fit on my finger. So I knew I had to do something. And around that same time, the director for Mrs. New Mexico called, and I had done an inquiry like months before, but she finally called and asked if I was still interested. And I thought, this is a great opportunity to have real motivation, like, hello, swimsuit on stage in front of many people, and a great way for me to be motivated to get back into shape. So I thought, let's go for it. I love pageantry. I used to compete. It's how I paid for my education in college. And I currently volunteer for a local organization. And I thought, why not? Let's try it and see what happens. And it's been very motivating, but competing and training as a mom is completely different than when I was training and competing as a single college student. And so I had to do some navigating on how do I still prepare healthy food for my family, but also for myself. And you may be thinking, well, you cook healthy food anyway, that's what you're all about, when you just continue to do that. Well, the answer is no, because you can overeat and overindulge on healthy food as well, and people might not think about that. If you have a weight loss goal, you're gonna eat a little bit differently than maybe you normally would. So yes, I do eat pretty healthy, as does my family. We eat a lot of vegetables, some fruit, whole grains, lean meats, all that good stuff, but I never really paid attention to my portion sizes or like how many carbohydrates versus fats and proteins I was consuming, because I didn't really have a goal. And then yes, I was overindulging because I was about, well, we won't put a number on it, but I was overweight. And just recently, I was able to step on the scale, and I've lost 20 pounds in 3.5 months. And I really didn't have to do a whole lot of changes to my diet personally. I increased my activity level. I drank more water. Yes, I started monitoring my food, and we're going to talk about some of these tips here in a minute. But I just made some changes. The problem was, what do I do about feeding my family? I'm the one who shops, I'm the one who prepares food, and I can't cook 3 meals every night. It's really difficult to eat one way when your family eats another way. So I had to figure out how to do all that, and I didn't want to jump on here and start making videos when I hadn't figured it out myself. So now I have a pretty good balance on cooking for my goal and eating for my weight loss goal, and also making sure my family is enjoying their meals and is able to get all the nutrition that they need. If you want to keep up with my journey on the road to Mrs. New Mexico, the best place to do that is my Instagram, although I'm going to start putting more content on here. And my Instagram handle is also still Stacy, so please follow me over there if you want to see more day in the life type things. Now let's get to the heart of today's video. My 5 biggest weight loss tips for moms who want to lose weight. Now, number 1 can seem overwhelming. It might even be a little controversial to people, and it could be triggering if you've suffered with disordered eating in the past. So if that's you, you might want to talk to a doctor before you try this. But what I did was I started tracking everything I ate. And I encourage other people to do the same thing, because it's like when you create a budget, they say to track your spending. That's the first step. Well, the same thing in diet. Do you really know what you're eating? How many of us walk by the kitchen and just grab something, even if we think it's healthy? Maybe we grab a container of yogurt or an apple. And those things are not unhealthy, though, depending on what kind of yogurt you've purchased, but in general, they're not super unhealthy. But if we're doing those little snacking and grazing behaviors over the course of a day, it can really add up. So I would just encourage you to, before you change anything in your diet or lifestyle, just track your eating for 3 days and see where you're at. Now you can use a free app on the phone, like MyFitnessPal has a free version and a paid version, and I just use the free version to log my food. You can actually scan barcodes if you're eating something out of a package. Otherwise, you can search for the food item if it doesn't have a barcode. And start by tracking your food. If you're old-fashioned or old school, you can even just get a notebook and just jot down all of what you're eating. And not even just to track calories or fat or protein or any of that yet. Just get a feel for your eating behaviors. What do you tend to enjoy eating? How often are you eating? And of course, portion size. And the second part of that is, once you start getting into weight loss, you're probably gonna have to start weighing your food or measuring your food. You don't necessarily have to weigh it, but look at the portion sizes on the back of a package next time you go to eat something like potato chips or crackers or something like that. See how many crackers are in the 100-calorie portion. You might be eating 200 or 300 calories in front of the TV just by going back into that bag without realizing it. So the first step is to track your calories, and then track your food and just see where you're at, and then continue to track your food until you are comfortable with the amount of calories you're eating and your portion sizes. Number 2 is to track your movement. So you could do this in different ways. Most people's cell phones have a step counter. You could do like a Fitbit, or my husband bought me this super cool Apple Watch, and it took me a long time to even try to use it. I was quite honestly overwhelmed by the technology. Like, you could probably get a sense for my age here, but it was one more thing I had to learn. But once I figured it out, it tracks my steps, and that in particular has been helpful, because you can go to the gym, and it's also helpful to see what you're burning in calories at your gym or your workout. But you could work out for 30 minutes a day and then do nothing the rest of the day, and you're not going to make any progress. So your activity outside of the gym and sleeping, those activities like walking, cleaning your house, doing laundry, all those trips down to the washer where we forget that we've left it in there for a day and we have to restart it and we go back, right? All those trips count, all those steps, they add up. So even just parking farther away, taking the stairs, taking your kids for a walk at the park, or whatever, all those things are going to add up. And you want to set a goal for yourself, and it's going to be different for everyone, but set a movement goal for yourself and try to keep increasing it as you go. And you'll be surprised how many calories you can burn just by moving. But if you have no idea how sedentary you are, there's no way to improve. And I'm a numbers person. Some of you might not know, but I went to college to study science. I was a high school science teacher for a while. And numbers speak to me. So I like tracking my food, seeing the calories, tracking my steps, getting a step count. That's just personally what I like, but I think it works pretty good for a lot of people. Number 3 is to lift some weights. And I know some ladies, this is tough. And I used to be the one who went to the gym for the bar classes and the dance classes. Like, that's what I love. And I still do that. Yoga, I really enjoy that. And that's wonderful. But there's so many benefits to weightlifting, especially as we get a little bit older. It's good for our bone health. Obviously, it builds muscle. And the more muscle you have, just having muscle burns more calories than the fat you're carrying around. So if you can replace that fat with muscle, those muscles are burning calories for you. So the more muscle you have, the more calories you're burning, the more you can eat, right? Because there's only so much calorie cutting you can do before you totally lose your mind. There's only so much exercising that, let's face it, busy moms don't have time for hours in the gym. So if you use that time in the gym, even just 20, 30 minutes of strength training, you can build muscle and that muscle will work for you. Number 4, this is going to be seem pretty basic to people and you're going to be like, duh, everyone says this, but you have to drink water. Water. Your body is made of a lot of water and the water helps actually flush out the fat and it keeps you full. Sometimes, you know, especially late at night when you think you're hungry and you need a snack and you're watching The Real Housewives and you're like, ooh, I need some chips. Well, what you actually probably need is some water. You might just be thirsty. So anytime you get the urge to snack or eat late at night, try drinking a glass of water and see what that does. A lot of times that will fill you up. If you go to a restaurant, have a glass of water before your meal comes when you're just sitting there chatting. It will help you feel full and feel good. I know when I don't drink enough water, I get headaches and I just feel a little tired and just bleh. So be sure you're drinking water. If drinking water is hard for you, some people really just don't enjoy it. I can't say it's like my favorite thing. So I mix it up by putting some mint leaves, some fruit in my water. You could also drink iced tea or hot tea. I mean, that counts as water, right? It's mostly water, even that morning cup of coffee, but caffeine is a diuretic, so you want to be careful with that. Crystal Light has some good options. There's some different ways to make that water taste better. Just be sure you're getting it in. And my last one, and probably what should have been number 1 for me personally, is to meal prep and to plan your meals. So when you go to lose weight and you want to figure out you figure out how many calories you can eat and how many you need to burn to lose weight, and there's formulas for all of that. So you have your calorie goal, you have your macronutrient goal, like meaning how many carbs, protein, and fat you need in a day or you should be eating. So you have those numbers. Go into an app or do it the old school way and actually write down everything you're going to eat the next day, or you can do it a week at a time, but if that's overwhelming, do the next day. They always say to log your food first because you don't want to eat and log things. Let's say you don't have a plan, you just go to the refrigerator, you eat breakfast, log it, eat lunch, log it, and then you go to eat dinner and you eat your dinner and you go to log it and you're already way over your calorie count for the day. Well, with a little planning, and if you had entered all your food first, you would know that you should have had a little bit smaller lunch so you can have a bigger dinner, if that is the issue. So you definitely need a plan, and there's some videos on here on meal prep, and that's kind of where I want this channel to get back to. There are many different ways to meal prep. There's some exciting new cookbooks coming out, and I happen to be on the launch team for one of them, so you're going to be hearing about that. And really, I don't know how people don't meal prep. And when I say meal prep, I don't mean like the bodybuilders you see on TV that make 5 containers of chicken, broccoli, and rice and 5 containers of eggs and potatoes and turkey bacon for the whole week, because I don't really like eating reheated food like that. But maybe you just prep your protein or your grains or components of your dish, and then you can cook it fresh that night. There's a million different ways to meal prep. But probably the more important thing is to have a plan. So something that fits in your lifestyle, if you enjoy cooking or not, if you want to order food, if you know you're going to eat out, having a plan for that too is super helpful. You don't want to go to the restaurant starving, look at the menu, and then decide what you want. If you can ahead of time, plan out those meals too. And we are going to get into all of those things on this channel moving forward. So again, if you want to follow my journey to Mrs. New Mexico and weight loss and nutrition, all that stuff's over on Instagram, and I'm going to do better about putting videos here on YouTube. So thank you guys for joining me. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up, and I will see you next time.